Hello and welcome on the section on data ethics. My name is Albert Sebastian and today we are taking a look at what this concept is all about. So looking on the agenda of today, first of all we will see the introduction about the data and data science. Secondly, we will move on the data ethics. Then we will see the difference between the two scenarios, that is the concept of ethics and legal. After that, we will straightforward to the need of these data ethics, that is why the data ethics is required. Moving on to the section, we will see the data ownership and view what are the exact ethical issues regarding the data science and briefly touch upon the technique to resolve it. Data is the new oil. In May 2017, The Economist read the following headline: "The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil but data." In fact, the data as the new oil analogy originated from as early as 2006 when Claire Humbe from Tesco in UK said that data is the new oil, it's valuable, but if unrefined it cannot really be used. It has to be changed into meaningful knowledge to create a valuable entity that drives profitable activity. So must data be broken down, analyzed for it to have value. So where we come in, an extremely valuable resource in the world is data. You must be wondering, data professionals are high in demand and getting popular each day by day. But what makes them so special? What are the perks of being in a data specific career and how can we get there? The answer is the data professionals see the big data as oil for its value and develop expertise to extract it, process it, and convert it into insights or solutions that cater not only to companies but everyone. Data. So what is data all about? Data is the raw, unorganized, unprocessed information. Data is a collection of raw, unorganized facts and details like text, observation, figures, symbols, or description of things, etc. In other words, data does not carry any specific purpose and has no significance by itself. Moreover, data is measured in terms of bits and bytes, which are basic unit of information in context of computer storage and processing. Data science. Data science is the process of using data to find solution or to predict outcome for a problem statement. Data science is a multidisciplinary approach to extracting actionable insight from the large and ever-increasing volume of data collected and created by today's organization. It encompasses preparing data for analysis and processing, performing advanced data analysis and presenting the result to reveal patterns and enable stakeholders to draw informed conclusions. Data mining. Data mining is a non-trivial extraction of implicit, previously unknown and potentially useful information from data. It is a technique in KDD process to extract important vital information from a huge set of data sets. It derives insight by carefully extracting, reviewing, and processing the huge data to find out patterns and correlation which can be important for the business decision. It is analogous to the gold mining, where golds are extracted from rocks and sands. So I think all the portions are clear with the concept of data and data science all about. Then we will move to the main topic under discussion, that is data ethics. Data ethics. Data ethics involves systematizing, defending and recommending concepts of right and wrong behavior in relation to data. What does this ethics refers to? Ethics is nothing but it is a branch of physiology encompassing right conduct and good life. It is significantly broader than the common conception of analyzing right and wrong. Ethics tells us about right and wrong, their shared value. It is not a defined law. A central concept is the good life, the life worth living, or life that is satisfying, which is held by many philosophers to be more important than moral conduct. It is standardized code right and wrong. Ethics versus legal. Now let us look on to the difference between two basic common terms, that is the ethics and legal. Legal, it is something related to law. The law refers to a systematic body of rules that governs the whole society and actions of individual member. It is nothing but a system of regulation to govern conduct of the people of a community, society or nation. Such regulations are meant to be legal. Ethics is a branch of moral philosophy that guides people about basic human conduct. As we seen earlier, ethics tells us about the right and wrong. It is not a defined law. Why data ethics? What is the necessity of this data ethics? This might be the common question that arises in our mind. Data ethics is important because there must be a universal framework for what companies can and cannot do with the data they collect from people. While there is still a lot of gray area in this territory, and there is nothing clearly black and white, there are five things that all experts generally agree should be put into the place. For example, private customer data, and the identity of a person associated with that data is to be remained private and confidential. If data has been collected from a person with their knowledge, it is okay, but it should never be exposed or given to other business that has their personal identity attached to the data in some way. Customers who give out their data should also have a complete, open and transparent view of how this data is being used. If it is being sold for other purposes they initially intend, and they should be able to have control in the flow of their private information. It is also agreed that data should never interface with the human will. This data should never be used to determine who a person is before another person is able to make up their own minds in regard to said people. Perhaps one of the biggest, most complex issues regarding data ethics is how individuals' data may create an unfair bias. Sexism and racism are biggest concerns. This bias can come from actual humans, but it is also come from machine learning and algorithms. They can learn to make unconscious bias based on certain things. These are just a few of the main focus and principles that are being focused on most heavily at the moment. Although there is still much more to learn, discuss and develop when it comes to the basis of and formation of data ethics. The companies should comply with regulations, prove themselves trustworthy to the customers who approaches them, ensure fair and reasonable data usage by the company, minimize biases and social inequalities, develop a positive public perception. Data ownership. Most of the time, you don't want the data about you. That belongs to the company who collects it. As we seen earlier, data is a raw form of information which is unorganized or unprocessed. So these data must be gone through some pre-processing step like data cleansing, integration, transformation, loading, refresh, etc. to extract a pattern for the knowledge extraction for the better decision making in business. This data is our own information, even though the ownership belongs to the company who does this pre-processing steps, that is, who collect it, the one who done the pre-process step. But even though we must have some control over it because the data belongs to us. Moving on to the next topic, we will see the ethical issues regarding these data. Ethical issues. Ethical issues is majorly classified into two. First one, direct issues, and the second one is indirect issues. Let us discuss more about direct and indirect issues in data mining. Now let us discuss on the direct ethical issues on data. The first one is the loss of privacy. The loss of privacy is the greatest issues faced in data mining. This can be from disclosure either accidental or on purpose. It may stem from a belief that the data has been made anonymous, but this can prove hard to do, and there are many methods for re-identification. It is said that 50% of Americans can be identified from just city, birth date and gender. Privacy can also be lost when data is handed over to other parties to do the data mining. Data may also be lost or hacked, and while not directly as a result of data mining, the data may only be saved because of it potentially from data mining. The second one is misinterpretation of mined information. Ethical issues can occur with misinterpretation of the result of data mining. Example of this can stem a belief that data mining results are correlations, not of causations. Although causations is often the desired result. An example may be that as ice cream sales increases, so do drawing, but it is unlikely that there is a causation while drawing a ice cream sales. It is more likely a relationship related to better weather. Poor data mining techniques or misuse of statistical evaluation can lead to improper conclusion of data mining. Data can be overfitted, which will lead to unrealistic views of data mining analysis. The third one is the trouble with anonymizing information. The anonymizing of information before data mining occurs or after data mining occurs is an important way to ensure privacy of people's information. However, there are many cases of where information was believed to have been made anonymous, but ways of deusing individuals has been discovered. Another problem that can occur is when it believed to be anonymous, but the data then can be used to incriminate a certain particular group. This may occur from something as trivial as leaving as postcode in the data. Now let us discover more about the ethical issues in the second contrast in indirect issues. Indirect issues of data mining. These are an individual or group of people are affected in some way of data mining, but not directly due to their breach in privacy. An example is when going for a mortgage, your application is based on criteria derived from data mining. It's not an individual thing. The first question arises, who does the information belongs to? The question can be asked of who owns the data and for how long should it be kept and for what purpose. There seems to be a kind of consensus that if the data is about a person, then that person is then viewed to own the information or at least have a say in its use. A gray area also develops when two datasets are matched together. An individual may feel that together they are more than the sum of the original two databases in terms of implicit result of information. Data mining from joint data sets can become very powerful. The second question you can be asked is how data is collected. Data can be collected and agreed as it used by an individual, although many individuals will be unaware of potentials of data mining and the manipulation of data. But most data is captured with little knowledge or respect for the individual form sources such as street surveillance and what may seem not harmful events such as the use of loyalty cards. The gathering of data from the internet can occur from the legitimate giving of data, but may also occur due to malware where no consent was given, and this collection is moving into the mobile area. Onus is on whom? That is, who is responsible for this? A degree of onus should fall on the individual to develop how and why data is being collected and what it is used for. But also, business should be relatively transparent with using people's data. Some degree of responsibility may also fall on governments. Organizations with witness interest in data mining from its members can create guidelines such as the Association of Data-Driven Marketing and Advertising did. It should be clear to the customer that data is going to be shared through various levels of business. But it seems that most of the owners of data mining ethics should fall on the owners of the data and those doing the data mining. The data miners should be very sure that their result before using them or making them public. The very method of data mining is discriminatory because that is the basis of the use of data mining. For example, who should get a loan or what's your choice of having an accident when applying for a car insurance. Now we would be able to see various issues. Now look over to the resolution. Resolve ethical issues. Data ethics in education and the social sector. The use of data and technology strengthens biases that occur in society. Normally, this occurs in research and artificial intelligence applications. Data ethics can support the education sector in shaping policies that promote the responsible use of data and technology. Operationalizing ethical data practices require further understanding two major areas. First one is assisting fair use of data and technology to maximize the potential to improve public good. And the second one is the undertaking risks that led to negative impact on people. Then we can see the capacity building. Data and technology are constantly changing and enhancing. It is very hard for organizations to have the capacity to ethically follow data policies. If organizations work to build capacity, they can participate in training, creating guidance resource, and have staff be there for support. Then stakeholders engagement. Many benefits exist when you engage with stakeholders. One consists of an increased buy-in with the use of data and the organization. Another serves as an aid to detect concerns early on, ultimately creating powerful tools. Developing AI toolkits. A magnitude of big technology firms is dedicated to addressing these issues with data and ethics. IBM has proved the AI Fairness 360 open source toolkit to check unwanted biases in data sets and machine learning models. Another toolkit released by Facebook's Fairness Flow and Google's What If tool. Now let's conclude the section. Access how customer want their data treated. A data ethics framework is set of guiding principle or how your company collects, stores, uses and delete data. This framework will differ from each individual company based on the industry it sits in and the customer it interacts with, but at most basic level it must contain of what you believe and how you act. The first step in creating the framework is understanding what the expectation is from your customer and data subjects around how they want their data treated. We call this as the platinum rule, treating people's data the way they want it to be treated. What consents have they provided? Are there any gap in how you communicate how their data is used? Do you have process in place for not only ethically collecting data but deleting it as well? Evaluate your privacy policy and the experience customers have with them, that is if they are easy to comprehend to understand the granular level how customer want their data treated. Secondly, hire a chief data ethic officer. Hiring a chief ethical officer in data to stepward the creation of data ethics framework is also a key step. Unlike a chief data officer who must manage data and draw business value from it, the CDEO is primarily responsible for ensuring data is used ethically by all the employees and partners. Thirdly, uh, evaluate your organization's data practices. When the team is assembling that will contribute to crafting your organization data ethics framework, it's now time to get a graduate understanding of your data inventory process, what you collect, how you collect it, and where you store it. This technical understanding of what you do with the data is something your company should already understand from a legal perspective. Ensure that all stakeholders are clear and aligned with this process. How if process must be changed? Now it is time to do so. For example, if you review your privacy policies and realize they are too lengthy, difficult to understand, or something users just click through without absorbing the information, it may be necessary to redesign how the present privacy constant form. Presenting this information to user in a way that can understand your company is on its way to operate more ethically. And we can see the operationalize your data ethic framework. Now it's time for your executive to align on how your company can act and at a physiological level what you want it to become or do. What is the basics of your, this should be the basis of your framework. You should outline specific action your company takes care to uphold ethical data practices today by accumulation data ethical practices. Then don't wait to get started. It's never too late to create and implement data ethic framework, but the best step a company can take it implementing this framework from the outset of the business. With continuous improvement and accountability, business can win trust and be set up for long-term success. And that's all for today. Thank you.